I so first of all, can I use what you say in this interview for my class?
Of course you can.
So what we're talking about is the problems with youth basketball, and we're considering that being high school and down. And then so I guess first question is like, what are the pros of youth basketball?
Pros. I'll say one of the biggest pros is that taught me how to be a hard worker in life,
Hmm.
and I'd say it taught me how to be very responsible. I learned a lot of great life lessons from playing basketball, and I definitely wouldn't be the person I am if I didn't play the sport, for sure.
I and I guess first problem with youth basketball, I guess, is like, what are your thoughts of like the player development?
I feel like one of the biggest problems is I feel like a lot of coaches overwork like their players a lot. If that makes sense. And I feel like being overworked at such a young age could definitely get you burnt out and lose love for the game. Because
Can,
that happened to me at one point.
can you give an example of like how they overwork?
Over, let's say like you just like keep pushing the kid, and then like you're just yelling at him or like just trying to push him to be great, and like and that's how I feel. And like let's say like, 'cause that's how what happened to me, like my parents were pushing me, and then there was times where I just wanted to give up, and like over time I just lost love for the game, and like it wasn't fun to me anymore. So I feel like I feel like there should be like an extent of pushing your player slash kid.
Mm, I guess also, so like the biggest problem from like NBA scouts, if you like see through like media, is they say that the players in America, they're like, well, the younger ones, they're like more athletic, more like talented,
Mm.
but they don't seem to play the right way. Do you think that's like true?
I agree 100%. I feel like a lot of comparing like American players and European players. I feel like obviously like the more American players are more athletic. They're just naturally gifted athletes. I would say, but if you see, I've seen some European teams before, played against some European teams. Like they're actually harder teams like to play against because they play like a team. Basketball is a team sport. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
5 on 5. And I feel like a lot of like most Americans players just like forget that because I feel like they're trying to just play for like some clicks for some views, and I'm definitely a big fan of how the Europeans play. It's beautiful basketball. Can't argue with that.
So to expand on your point with like how some players play for clicks and views, do you
Yeah,
think like the media, like Ball is Life and Overtime, can sometimes have a negative effect on like, because they show the top like 1% of recruits, but like to the people that are just working and trying to get to that position, you think that they can often like hurt those players in a negative way.
100%. Like if I like for example like if I knew like Ball is Life or like some like big big time people are gonna show up, like I feel like I would like be selfish, and I feel like that would happen to a lot of players too. Like and I feel like they wouldn't even be playing to like get the win or like help their teammates. I feel like they would just play to like try and look good for themselves. That makes sense.
And I guess to expand on your selfish point, do you feel like players often kind of don't understand how to find a role per se? Because there's more than one ways to like affect winning. Like you could be a
Yeah,
drip.
100%. Yeah, I feel like everyone always wants to be the star. Everyone wants to be like the number one guy, but teams need the people like the people rebounding. They need the people getting back on defense. That's what makes a good team. Like you can't have all five stars in one court. Like it's a team game.
I guess, like you say, do you think with the current system in play, because I think we're both in the agreement that it's very isocentric,
Uh huh.
but because my problem is I feel that players who get to the NBA who are like, let's say they're a top recruit, do you also feel like they have a hard time finding a role outside of, like, oh, I was the number one guy and
Are you talking
everyone,
about people that make it to the NBA?
yes,
Or
because,
yeah.
like their whole life they were
Uh-huh.
like, oh, I'm the guy.
Yeah.
Let's say you go to Dallas Mavericks, you got Luka Doncic, you're not getting the ball.
Oh yeah, no.
And so like it's hard for them to find the role because they're like, I was the scorer, I was this.
Hmm.
So do you think it's like it's hard for them to learn because the system doesn't really give them a
Yeah, I
chance
feel
to
like
grow to learn?
yeah, but yeah, definitely, I 100% like think it was hard. It would be hard for them, But then again, I feel like as a player, if you really like want to win for your team, do better, you would just have to adjust for your team. But I feel like a lot of players like nowadays, like they wouldn't want to make that adjustment, because
Hmm.
as I said, everyone just wants to be the number one guy. Everyone wants to be the star.
And I guess probably the
Like for
biggest.
look at the oh my bad. Look at the Denver Nuggets. Like look, if you put Michael Porter Jr. on a different team, he's an all star. But in the Nuggets, he understands his role. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a good example.
Or I didn't mean to cut you off. What were
Yeah.
you saying?
So I just wanted to ask another question, and that was more so like the culture of AAU in the sense
Mhm.
like, how what's it called? The worst part, in my opinion, about it is like the held backs, and like, what
Mm.
are your thoughts about a coach? Well, parents holding back their kids to play younger
I'm not a
competition.
big fan of holding back your kid, because if you really want your son, daughter to be at the next level, like just as from a player standpoint, I would like want to be, I would want to play against the best players. You know what I'm saying? And like, how would you? In my opinion, I just don't see how it makes sense. How are you getting better by playing people that are way younger than you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you may look good in front of the cameras, but like right when you reach that level that you're at, like I feel like you really be prepared.
Mm-hmm. And then let's see what else. When we talk about that, well, I guess another cultural aspect is like the behavior that like is seen, like what you said before, like coaches yelling, but more so it's like what I'm on is like in how like some behavior is just, in my opinion, downright bad, like how you could see on like TikTok or stuff that like players chirping at like referees, parents doing the same, and even some accounts like assaulting referees.
Oh yeah, I've definitely seen. I saw a video of like a fight broke down at the AU tournament, and I just feel like I feel like it's bad part from the parents because I feel like that's just very disrespectful, obviously, and I feel like you're just teaching your kid like you're just showing them that they can get whatever they want. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like what was the other question you were saying about the chirping?
Well, it's more so it's like, do you feel like this behavior needs to change because it's like it sort of becomes an accepted part of like parents yelling at refs or like
Oh yeah,
yelling
hundred
at
percent,
coaches.
100%, 100%. Because I'm a referee myself. I've done my refereeing in the past, and just like hearing what like parents say to you, even like the kids, is just like disgusting. Like referees are human too. Like yeah, they might make mistakes in there, but you don't need to lead it to like a fight or like a big argument. You know what I'm saying? Just like let the kids play, let the game go on.
Yeah. So I guess also,
Like I don't go to your job and tell you what to do.
yeah. What else? I guess, what are your like thoughts of like, if you could really comment on it, maybe because you might be not, but like I feel somewhat AAU can be like a money grab, or like
Mhm.
in the sense that like at some point players are going to gravitate to like the big teams because they have the better or like considered the best coaches. Going into high school, you got connections with like a bunch of high school coaches, so you could probably have a better chance of like getting a starting position.
Sorry about that. What'd you say?
So like I feel I feel going into high school, a bunch of AAU programs end up like dwindling out because it becomes you want to get the coaches with the offers who like can get you offers, or like the connections with like high schools who are like, oh, this coach, he coaches for AU but he also coaches for this high school,
Mm-hmm.
to get your name on the door. So I feel like at the end of the day, like a bunch of AAU teams, kind of it feels like a money grab because these really good teams, they cost a lot of money and not everyone can pay for it. So do you feel like this system is sort of unequal to like those families that often can't do make
I
the
mean, I feel like yeah, it is unequal, but like, what can you really do at the end of the day? Like if I'm a parent, you know, I always want the best for my kid, and like I know like it seems like unfair in a way, but like, hey, I guess like I guess that's how coaches just get their money, I guess. And like obviously if they have like connections to like like say high school coaches, you know how those high school coaches can like have a connection with college coaches. And at the end of the day, you just want better for your kid. It may seem unfair, but like to be honest, if I was a parent, I would probably consider like putting my kid in that type of program if I can like really see him like going far with it.
Mm, good point.
Yeah,
I think that's all. Thank you for the interview.
that's it. All right. I